Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Today is October the 22nd, 2016. I'm your host, Mike, along with my co-host, Dave. Welcome to this edition of the Philly Pod.
Mikey, what's going on, dude?
Not much, Dave. How about yourself?
Well, funny how things can change in a week, huh?
Yeah.
I mean, this time last Saturday, we're talking about how the Eagles are going to take down the Redskins, go 4-2, go 4-1, be looking in great shape for the division, and they just came out and laid an absolute dud against the Redskins last week.
Oh, that was a pain to watch.
But we're past that. You know, we're not gonna dwell on that. It was a bad game. They played poorly. Whatever. It's in the past. We got to move forward now.
Yep.
And we now turn our attention to the Eagles playing the Minnesota Vikings.
Sammy B and company.
Yeah, Sam Bradford coming back into town. The Vikings are 5-0, coming off a bye. And one thing's for sure, looking at this game purely on paper, Mike, the Eagles have no shot to win this game. When you just look at it on paper, the Vikings have the best defense in football. One of the best front sevens in football. Their secondary is solid. They get pressure on the quarterback. The Eagles offensive line is a mess right now, which we're going to dive into it in a second. The Eagles are a mess on the offensive line. It's a horrible mismatch in the trenches for the Eagles. The Eagles wide receivers cannot get open. The Redskins put a blueprint out on them last week, playing a lot of man coverage. They don't match up well in the secondary against the Vikings. It is just not a good matchup for the Eagles. So everything about this game says take the Vikings.
I would agree. They looked bad last week. They looked bad again last week. But again, like you said, we have to move forward. I don't like this matchup either. I think that Vikings defense it's just going to eat the O-line alive. And I think this is going to be a game where you're concerned about Carson Wentz.
Carson Wentz is going to have to play well. More importantly, the offensive line is going to have to play well. And even probably more important than that, the coaching staff is going to have to show that they can make adjustments. Mm-hmm. Because one thing I thought they did a very poor job of offensively last week was making an adjustment to help Vitae at the right tackle position. They never made that adjustment. A couple times they helped him out with chip blocks from Selleck and Ertz, but it was not consistently enough. It was not done consistently enough throughout the day. Now, on the flip side of it, the defense played horrible as well. And the defensive lines get to play better. I don't think they're going to have as much trouble with Minnesota handling the run because Minnesota's had their own struggles running the football. So I'm looking at that. That was more an anomaly on the defensive side last week.
I'm concerned about their wide receivers. They got some wide receivers out there in Minnesota.
Stephon Diggs is legitimate. And he's a matchup problem for the secondary.
Definitely.
There is no doubt. And plus, you have no Benny Logan playing either, which isn't going to help things on the defensive end. So everything, Mike, says the Vikings win this game easily.
I would agree.
But.
Oh, there's a but?
There is a but.
Okay.
I noticed. I was looking at the lines in all the games. And when the line came out initially for this game, the Vikings, 5-0, best defense in football. Sam Bradford playing out of his mind. The Vikings were only 2-point favorites, which tells me that Las Vegas thinks, despite all of that, the Eagles have a chance to win this game.
You're telling me there's a chance?
I'm just giving you a little prelude for a little preview of what might be coming on later in the show when we reach a certain segment. That's all I'm saying.
Okay.
This just seems like, again, everything's against the Eagles. It's a weird situation. The Vikings are coming out of the bye. Like, everybody is on Minnesota this week. We look from the experts. Even looking at the newspaper picks. A lot of the analysts think this is a Vikings win all the way. And this is a goofy league, Mike. And we see it week to week. You have games that happen. It's the ebb and flow of an NFL season. I just have a feeling the Eagles are going to come out and play well.
Well, we did say that Pittsburgh was going to beat them in week 3.
And what did I say about that game? I picked against them. I shouldn't have. What did I say about the line in that game?
It was an Eagles line.
That's right, and the Steelers were only 3-point favorites coming in, and
they only scored 3 points.
Yeah, right, and the Eagles took it to them. Similar situation now. Now, we're recording that on a Saturday, and the line has since moved up to 3 points for the Vikings. Still not a lot. That's screaming take the Eagles in that game.
Yeah. That's interesting, but I can't see it. I don't see it. I don't see the Eagles beating the Vikings. I don't see them. I just don't see it.
There's no reason. There's no reason why you would take the Eagles in this game. Everything on paper is against them. They lose just about every matchup across the board except for the quarterback position and the running back position. Mm-hmm. They're outmatched on paper. This is just totally purely. I just see the Eagles at 3-point underdogs, and I think, wow, that's ridiculous. The Vikings should be favored by like 6-7 points on the road in this game, and they're not. Something's standing out there to me.
Yeah.
I don't know. I've got a good vibe about this game.
Okay.
Something's telling me the Eagles have a legitimate chance to win this game.
And you know what? I just thought this dawned on me. Maybe it's because they don't run the ball well. Maybe that our front four will be able to do enough to get enough pressure on Sam Bradford to maybe cause some issues.
You're gonna have to do that. You gotta come out. You gotta hit Sam Bradford in the mouth, like the way they came out that Monday night game, against Chicago. Where they came out, they hit Jay Cutler in the mouth right away. I think you have to do that to Sam Bradford in this game. Get him feeling uncomfortable. Because we see, when he gets uncomfortable, that's when, it's the same thing, the mistakes happen. Yep. He starts overthrowing receivers, throwing behind. Mm-hmm. We saw it all last year.
Yeah.
Like the book's out there how to beat Bradford. If they can just find a way to get some pressure on him, then I think, okay. You know what I mean? You start out the game coming out, you hit him hard. Then I think, all right, the Eagles going to have something rolling in this game. That's what I need to see out of this defense tomorrow.
Yeah, they definitely have to come out sharper than they did in the last 2 weeks.
But there's a lot of things. This is a big game for a lot of reasons. It's a big game because I believe that the impact of this game and the results of this game are going to affect the rest of the season. Like, if they win this game tomorrow, they're now 4-2, and then they're heading out to Dallas, which is that's a huge game right there. But at 4-2, you're now still in the position to make a run for the playoffs and potentially compete for the division. You lose this game now, and now you're 3-3. Division's starting to get a little further away. You're going on the road to Dallas, who's 5-1 now, and now things are starting to slip away a little bit. And I think if they lose this game, any hope for a division title is done, and we're now looking at probably a 7-9, 9-7 sort of range for the season.
Yeah, that 3-3 is definitely an uphill battle compared to 4-2, where you have an opportunity to keep the season alive.
I mean, it definitely is. But then I start thinking, now it comes down. This game is a must-win. This is a must-win game for the Eagles if they want to make a push for the playoffs and try to win this division.
I would agree.
How they're going to come out, I expect to see them coming out more prepared than against the last two teams. I personally thought they looked past Detroit. And Washington, they just came out and they just got beat. That's the worst they've looked all year long. So I expect them to tighten things up a little bit, and I don't expect to see them play that sloppy again. Yeah,
I would hope that they come out and play. And I hate to use this word because it's so early in the season. I hope they come out and play desperate football.
They need to. This is a desperate game. I mean, if they can't recognize that, then I don't know what to do to help them.
Yeah. Yep. I mean, defensively, you have to basically play perfect. Offensive line's got to be perfect. It's got to be a complete game by all around. A full 60-minute effort. The defense, they've tightened up the last 2 weeks in the second half. It's got to be a full 60-minute effort.
And you mentioned the offensive line, and there are a couple questions that I thought going forward. Now, even after that Redskins game, I thought about during the week. Like, is Vitae, is Big V really the best option at right tackle?
No, I think there are better options out there.
And now he got eaten alive. I understand it's his first start. He stunk.
Yes, he did.
Big V was horrible last week against the Redskins.
He was a big turnstile.
He wasn't good, man. He was not good. So, I mean, you really mean to tell me that the Eagles knew this was going to be a possibility going forward? Now, is this just a case where they legitimately thought Big V would be able to step in and handle it, or were they just caught with their pants down with the Lane Johnson suspension? They never did anything.
I would hope that it was the first of those two options where they thought that he could handle it and not the second option, because if it's the second option, I definitely worry about Eagles management moving forward, because
He could not have looked that bad in practice.
Yeah.
All through camp, right?
Yeah, right.
He could not have looked as bad as he looked against Washington. There's no way.
Yeah.
No way they would put him out there if he looked that bad, right?
Yeah, I would hope so. I would hope that would be the case.
Because now I look at it, and if he comes down and he plays poorly again, in this game, then you got to think. I don't know how you can throw him back. I'm not even sure how he's still out there after this performance against Washington. But I think the better option would have been you move Alan Barber over to right tackle, and you have to put Wisnicki in at guard. And
Yeah.
I thought that was the move you had to make. And listen to the analysts and what a lot of people were saying. They were saying the same thing. But they're going to give him a second chance. And see, with the way he played last week, like for me, it changed the outlook for the season. It honestly did. Seeing him play that way, my gut reaction was, I don't think they can win the division with him at right tackle.
I would agree.
So I'm going to pose the question, can the Eagles, now with no Lane Johnson, with the offensive line issues, can they legitimately win this division? As the roster stands right now, can they win this division?
No. Nope. I don't see it. You don't have the cornerbacks. You don't have the offensive line. I just don't see it. You don't have the wide receivers. There are too many holes.
And the corners were exposed. We talked about the secondary. When the front four is not getting the heat, they were going to get exposed.
Yeah.
And they made Kirk Cousins look like a top 5 quarterback in this league.
They did.
And he's streaky. He has his spots where he looks good. That was inexcusable to me.
Yep.
I can't recall a time they never brought any pressure on Cousins, which, hey, listen, I get it. When you like the time when you want to bring the heat, bring the extra guys, is when you have corners who can cover one-on-one. And the Eagles don't have that. So I can understand Jim Schwartz being hesitant to blitz. But, dude, when you're just dropping 7 back in coverage and rushing 4, and they're still finding guys open because the front four is not getting home, you got to try something.
Yep.
You got to make it. You still have to try to blitz it. And I expect to see them do that against the Vikings, because what do they have to lose at this point?
I would hope they would do that, because
seriously, you're 0-2 coming off a bye. You've played the worst football these last 2 weeks than you played all year long.
Yeah.
I think, what was it, 28 penalties the last 2 games?
I'll check.
It was something like that. Something ridiculously high like that. But I mean, it's mind blowing to me that you play that sloppy coming out of a bye 2 weeks in a row.
There were way too many penalties these last 2 weeks. Way too many penalties. And these penalties will kill you in a game. Penalties will absolutely kill you in a game if you're not disciplined. And we talked about this last week. The Eagles got to be disciplined. They were not disciplined last week, and I don't see that changing anytime soon.
I think they'll be better. I disagree. I think they'll be better this week. It's a big game. It's a big game. They're going to be at home. Crowd's going to be fired up. I expect to see them play sharper this week.
I sure as heck hope so.
Now, they will. I'd be willing to bet that they come out with less penalties. They have less penalties than they had the last couple of weeks in this game.
I would hope so, because you play sloppy like this again, there's no way you're going to beat Dallas.
So the Eagles win this game. Are they back and play for the division?
I'm going to hold judgment on that until next week when we play Dallas.
By the way, speaking of Dallas, I don't think there's any debate now who your starting quarterback should be.
Dak.
It's Dak all the way. Dak. I don't see how you can go back to Tony Romo now at this point.
So now you're gonna change.
It changed.
You're gonna change your mind?
Yeah. Well, yeah.
I told you this. I could have told you this, man.
How can you argue now with him going into Green Bay and beating the Packers? I can't argue it now.
Yeah.
I still think Tony Romo's a better quarterback, but it looks like at this point Dak Prescott is the better option, because I can't argue it. There's no way now I could convince that team to go back to Tony Romo after that kid did what he did. And they dismantled Green Bay. Let's give credit where credit's due.
Yeah, he did.
I was wrong about that. It looks like, I mean, you have to go Dak.
And Green Bay is a very tough place to play.
It is, but something's off with the Packers again. Like they got it going in the second half against the Bears, but like Jordy Nelson's not healthy. Watching him, he can't get separation 1-on-1. They still have big offensive problems there in Green Bay. I know they won the game, and they eventually took it to the Bears in the second half, but there's still big-time problems in Green Bay.
I wonder if it was the ACL injury that from last year that he suffered.
He doesn't look like he's fully healthy from that yet. It doesn't look like he's gotten over that.
But, again, we went through that whole entire debate, and I was telling you that Dak Prescott was the guy for them.
It was a different situation at the time. That was like 3 weeks ago when we had the debate, and we were talking about at that moment. At that moment, I still thought it was Tony Romo. Dak hadn't gone in and beaten the Packers on the road.
That was last week.
It was not. It was not.
That was last week, dude.
It was not. Do you for real need me to cut up the audio? Here's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna cut up the audio, and I'll post that in a separate video on the YouTube account, and then we can. So you're telling me it was last week?
Yeah,
you
it was last week.
That? You want to get a sandwich on that?
You're damn well. I'll take a sandwich.
All right,
on
we
that.
got a sandwich bet that we did not talk about Tony Romo and the Cowboys last week.
We did.
We got a call.
Yeah.
What's going on here?
Yeah. Well, I don't know.
Did you forget to unplug the phone? Is there going to be a voicemail coming with this?
Yeah, probably.
You got a voicemail? So we're going to have a random call coming in. This is not even the call of the show, by the way. This is just the house phone.
Yeah. My bad.
Yeah.
We got to pay the bills.
Yeah. Maybe turn the phone off, too.
Yeah.
Or maybe don't pay the phone bill because we're not interrupting the show. All right, here's a question for you.
All right. Shoot.
Who you rather have right now, Dak or Carson? Is that hard?
Yeah, still go Carson.
Oh, I think that's Carson Wentz easily. Dak's the running game I think is going to be a little more in play with Dak Prescott, but I think Carson Wentz is the better overall quarterback.
And speaking of running game, I think that's a big reason why Dak Prescott's been so successful. Zeke Elliott has helped that game out.
He's a stud.
He is.
7 games, he's already got 731 yards.
Yeah, I think it's 721 yards.
Yeah, that's the Eagles don't have that. And frankly, that's something I want to see them commit to going forward.
Yeah, run the ball. Get the running game going. Get the run game going.
They need to. The rush attempts were up the first 3 games of the year, and to me, it's no coincidence they won those 3 games.
Yeah. And
the last 2, they haven't ran the ball as much.
And you know what? They haven't been able to possess the ball either. And that's probably a big reason why they haven't been won the last 2 games, because they haven't won time of possession. It's a big part of winning football games. You have more time, you're able to put more points, you're probably going to win the football game.
Oh wait, you see the 49ers are only 1-point underdogs at home against the Buccaneers.
Wow.
It's one of the games in our pool. I already made my pick there. I'm taking Chipper.
I got Tampa Bay.
That's another one we're going head to head.
I don't trust. By the way, in that pool, we're battling for out of the cellar. You know that, right?
Yeah. Thanks for highlighting that for all the people out there trying to bring some legitimacy to our picks. Yeah, you're right. We're in the cellar there. I would also like to point out that in my 16 game pools where I pick
all
16 games, I do 2 of those pools. I'm first and second.
Okay.
I just wanted to point that out.
You're saving face now.
Yeah, I mean, someone's trying to make it out like I don't exactly know what I'm doing here, and I'm on the fence now. Now I have to defend.
All right.
I can post pictures of that if you would like, Mike. I can show proof.
All right. You do that.
Oh man, but what a game that's going to set up next week, though.
Yeah.
Regardless win or loss, it's going to be great to see Dak and Carson going head to head.
You know what? It's a QB rivalry in the making with those 2.
See, if you're Giants or Redskins fans, you need to be worried, though.
Yeah.
You need to be worried about the future.
Eli Manning's getting up there in age.
Well, Eli's 37.
Wow, really?
Kirk Cousins, I still think Cousins is a bum. He played well. He had a good game against the Eagles last week, but I'm still not convinced. And I don't think Washington's convinced yet either.
Yeah.
So those 2 teams, they're gonna have some trouble. It's gonna be fun watching these 2 young guys go at it for the next 10 years.
Kirk Cousins is on a contract year.
Yeah, they only franchised him.
Yeah. So, if he was the franchise guy, you would have seen a contract extension there.
Yeah. Well, the fact that they tagged him means that they're not totally sold on him.
Yeah.
And you can see he still does too many bonehead moves.
Yep.
Yeah, another poor interception, which frankly was a lucky play for the Eagles. Why they were even that close when made that horrible pass when who was it? Marcus Smith got it in his face.
Yeah,
and ended up getting a pick six there. But he still makes bonehead moves.
Yeah,
he played well, but he's
overrated.
Yeah, I think so. I wouldn't be totally surprised. I mean, they might have to bring him back just out of necessity because they don't have anybody else. Mm-hmm. But Kirk Cousins isn't that good.
Yeah.
I'm fully on board with that.
He stinks.
So you've got all right. So give me a pick right now. Eagles and Vikings. What do you got?
Vikings.
You got Vikings.
Yes.
I'll be saving my pick for a later part of the show.
Well, you could do that because I don't have that game on my sheet, so I'm already just letting you know.
The game's on my radar.
All right.
The game's on my radar for my picks.
All right, it's on your radar. Yeah, we'll talk about that a little later.
You had Sixers preseason just wrapped up.
Yep.
All finished. Jahlil Okafor played a little bit in the final preseason game this past Friday.
Mm-hmm.
Looked okay. Scored 8 points on, I think, 8 minutes? I think he was in there. So they're bringing him back slowly. Totally fine with that. Joel Embiid, another good game. 18 points, 18 minutes.
Nice.
Dario Saric had a nice display. 19 points, 7 boards, and I think 20-something minutes.
That's solid.
Yeah. And, we're going to have our Sixers preview show coming up here in the next week or we'll have to do that next week now that I think about it. But keep your eyes, everything tuned in for that. But the Sixers, man, well, the Sixers and Flyers both. The Flyers season's underway. The Sixers are starting it up now. And let's start with the Flyers for right now before we transition to everything else.
Yeah.
Flyers, they got their opening win and since have lost 3 straight.
Yes.
And people are starting to jump ship already. So, Mike, should we change expectations the way they've looked through the 4 games?
It's way too early in the season to really make that type of a move. I'm not going to jump ship right away. The season's still very young. You're talking about an 82-game season. But I have a grind, but I'm going to keep that for later.
Surprising, you have a grind about the Flyers. Very surprising. Yeah.
But
you hockey fans, man, I'll tell you.
Hey, we're loyal. You could say what you want, but we're loyal.
Yeah. That you are.
But it's way too early to jump ship, and I think those who are already jumping ship, I think it's a mistake. Because if the Flyers are in the hunt come March, they'll be jumping back on this ship. I think, but. It's way too early. Early.
They're a young team. They've got some young players, so you're gonna have guys going through growing pains.
You got two rookies, 19-year-old rookies, and then a sophomore. So I'm not in a panic mode yet. It's too early.
It's too early for that. It's too early. I don't understand what people getting upset about. Like, we knew they weren't going to win the Stanley Cup.
Yeah.
This is why I don't understand the mentality of some Flyers fans. Like, okay, they're 1-3. They're off to a cold start. They haven't, it's the same things we saw last year. The power play is atrocious.
Yeah.
I mean, what was it the other night? They had 7 power plays and 5 shots.
And
that's
not
terrible.
To mention,
that is terrible on a power play.
Not to mention, 5 of those 7 were in a row.
I mean, how can you be that? I'm sorry, but how can you be that poor on the power play? You had the man advantage. Like, just shoot.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying I'm not one of those guys who goes to the hockey game and they're jostling for the puck behind the net and you hear that idiot yell, "Now shoot, shoot!" I'm not that guy, but like the Flyers, it's legit criticism. They need to shoot more on the power play.
Dave, I'm just gonna say it right now. You are not the only one. Trust me, you are not the only one. I remember
not the only one. What
that tells them to shoot.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I'm not the guy. When the puck's stuck behind the net, who's yelling out, "Shoot!" I'm not one of those idiots.
No, I'm not.
The Flyers need to shoot more.
I'm just saying, you're not the only guy that tells them to shoot the puck when there's a shooting lane. And I think that's part of the issue. They look for that perfect shooting lane, and it's not going to be there. You have to just take chances.
No, you have to take chances. You have to shoot. You get a ricochet. There's a lot of ways.
I'll tell you what. I've gone to my fair share of Flyers games over the years, and when they're on the power play and they're just passing the puck, you'll hear it. Shoot, shoot, shoot. And it's annoying. They're too passive.
Yeah, it is annoying. And, it's still early in the season, but I'm a little discouraged. Just I'm seeing the same mistakes.
Yeah.
The defense is still sloppy. The goaltending has been Now, they haven't been aided by, let's be fair, they haven't been aided by the defensive play.
No.
But, and the power play still stinks.
Yep.
So far through 4 games, I don't see a whole lot different.
Neither do I.
And should we be surprised by it?
No.
Nah, we really shouldn't.
And, again, Dave Hackstall is only a second-year coach. So, he still has a lot to learn in terms of being an NHL coach. So, I'm going to be, it's going to be a patient process. You have to be patient.
Oh, and you heard this too. Ben Simmons has confirmed he's going to come back in January.
Yes, I did hear that.
Yeah. So what the heck was that nonsense about? He's going to have to sit out the whole year and
I think that was the agent just being an agent and being a
true. So what was the point of that?
I don't know. I think that to me is just, the agent, trying to protect his quote unquote property and, save value.
But that's good news.
Yeah.
We'll have Simmons.
I'm excited. I'm excited.
I understand people are saying there's going to be a lack of spacing, and there is, but it's still going to be great to see Simmons and Embiid together.
It's the youth movement, man.
Yeah,
we got the Philadelphia youth movement going on right now.
We do, man. We got hope. It's going to take a little while, and it'll be a long process, but
Philadelphia Phillies, Philadelphia Eagles, Philadelphia 76ers, and Philadelphia Flyers. You got the Muth movement.
The Muth movement?
The youth movement. Excuse me.
I like that. We'll just go with that. Let's give it the Muth movement from now on. The Philadelphia Muth movement. Yeah, there we go. I'm concerned. I think the Phillies are. I think the Phillies kind of. We're going to be bringing up the rear, though.
Yeah,
I have to be honest.
I would agree.
They showed improvement from 2015, but I'm getting a little worried about them.
Yeah.
I don't know. Matt Klentak's talking about getting better talent in, but I'm still. I don't know, man. I'm getting a little worried about the Phillies. I think they're going to be slacking behind a little bit.
Yeah.
But time for us. Moving on. We've got the Buzz, where we talk about headlines, either from around the country, in the news, around the country, United States, local, national. Here's what we've got. First headline in the Buzz. We are going to Sweden.
Oh, Sweden.
Sweden. Apparently there was an incident in a small Swedish town. Here's the situation. It involves Pokemon Go players.
Oh, boy.
All right, apparently, 2 people, each wearing a pig mask, were targeting teenage Pokemon Go players. They went around. They were screaming and shining green laser points at the gamers while wearing pig masks.
Uh-huh.
Now, it gets better. Not only were they terrorizing the teenagers, the masked duo also created a huge traffic jam in the middle of a Swedish highway.
Oh, boy.
When they decided to stop in the middle of the road and began partaking in sexual relations.
Oh, jeez.
Apparently, the traffic jam was so bad, traffic was jammed up for miles before police were able to get out there because traffic was stopping because people, I guess, wanted to stop to see the show.
Yeah. Oh, God.
They also wore separate T-shirts that read King and Queen.
Oh, God.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, this is the most bizarre thing I've ever seen. So, what do you even buy a pig mask? Now that I'm thinking about that.
You'd have to probably go to, I don't know, a specialty store where they just sell masks.
But that's Amazon, right?
Yeah, probably.
What a bizarre thing.
That's weird.
And they haven't been caught. They got out of there, did their deeds, and then peaced out. They have not been caught. Miss Piggy and Babe are still on the loose. Have not been caught yet.
Wow.
Then we're going to bring it back into the country, back into the United States, where an incident happened in West Virginia. So apparently, a female, a woman, was an avid dog owner. She owns about 3-4 dogs. Well, she decides she wants to take him for a car ride, and she had to make a stop at Walmart.
Yeah.
And she decided she was going to go into the store, left her car running with the dogs in the car. Well, apparently there was some shenanigans going on in the car, and the 2 dogs were able to find a way to get the car moving, and as a result, the car crashed through into the Walmart.
Oh my God.
No injuries were reported, but somehow the dogs, they found a way to maneuver, the gear shifter, and they found a way to drive the car and get it working, and they crashed it into the Walmart.
Dogs are very intelligent.
Dogs are very intelligent. Hey, I mean, I guess, they got a little lonely.
Yeah.
Wanted to see Mama.
Yeah.
I thought, what's the fastest way to do that?
Through the Walmart.
Man, isn't that nuts? I mean, dogs are intelligent, but...
Yeah.
I don't know. You think the dog... I think that's more... They're just... Oh, we get another phone call coming in.
Oh, boy.
I thought you were going to take that off the hook, man. Maybe someone likes the dog story.
Yeah.
How do I do this thing here?
Just hit... There's a button on the right.
All right. I'm actually trying to figure out how to work this phone. Would I hit the red button?
Yeah.
Should I take it?
No.
See who's
No.
calling? That'd be great for ratings.
Yeah, it would, but...
maybe next time.
Yeah, maybe.
But there you go. We have pigs on the loose in Sweden, and dogs now learn how to drive in the buzz. So we got grind time.
Yes.
Grind time. Mike's baby. Mike's segment. Mike. Now we want to remind the viewers and my co-host what grind time is for. Grind time is when we pick something in the sports world, either or could be in real life, could be local, could be anything going on that you have an issue with. Something that happened, or not something that potentially could happen, something that has happened. So, Mike, you said you have a grind for us this week. What have you got?
The Flyers power play on Thursday night. 1 for 7. Why is that? Because they don't shoot the puck enough. We talked about this earlier. Shoot the puck. You won't know what could happen if you don't shoot. Take your chances. So what if a shot gets blocked? It's going to happen. It'll happen on even strength. It'll happen on short-handed opportunities too. Take your chances, Flyers. That's all I'm asking. Take your chances. And that's my grind of the week.
So you think the Flyers should shoot more?
Yes.
Yeah, they suck on the power play, dude.
Yes.
They need to fix that. Yeah, and even going forward. I mean, we'll see. Change up the lines a little bit.
I will say, though, a little bright spot for the Flyers, and I just thought of this, Matt Reed.
Matt Reed? Yeah, how about him?
4 games, 4 goals. I'll take that.
Where's that been, huh? Where's this been the first couple years of Reed?
Yeah, I'll take it. It's nice to see him being productive.
I hope he can keep it up.
I hope so,
The Flyers
too.
need a guy who they need a goal scorer.
They do.
Claude Giroux's not that guy anymore.
No,
never really was.
He's more of a playmaker. Yeah.
All right, so we're coming up. We have our game picks, our locks of the week. We both went 1-1 last week. I nailed the Kansas City Chiefs, taking down the Oakland Raiders. I whiffed, though, on the Seahawks. They won the game, failed to cover the 6-point spread against the Falcons. Mike, you got...
I think it was the Patriots game.
Yes.
They covered, and...
You lost. You had the Steelers.
Yeah.
Steelers. That was a bad one. I warned you about that. I warned you about those big spreads on the road.
Yep.
But we're 1-1. We're both... I don't remember. I know we both have identical records on the season.
Yeah.
Looking to get some separation. All right, Mike, you kick it off this week. Who you got?
Well, we're going to head to jolly old London for the morning game, where the New York Giants are going to play the Los Angeles Rams. Let's keep this in mind. Those games are generally sloppy. So, I am not going with a particular favorite. I am going over or under.
Okay.
The line there is 44.5.
Okay.
I am going under.
All right, that's not a bad pick. That is not a bad pick, seeing that they're they're going cross country, overseas and all that. All right, what else you got?
Well, we got the Washington Redskins going to Detroit this week, and our old buddy Kirk Cousins going into Detroit.
What's the line on that game?
The line is 1.5 for Detroit.
Oh.
Give me the Washington Redskins to cover that spread.
I don't see that. That is a stone cold Detroit Lions line. I got the Lions winning that one.
All right.
You want another sandwich? We're going to go 2 sandwich bets?
Bring it.
Oh, we got a double sandwich bet. All right. So, all right. Here's who I got. Oh, man, I'm smelling. I feel going to be racking it up. Dude, we did not talk about the Cowboys last week. I'm going to play that for you as soon as we're done. Anyway, let me get to my picks. All right. So, I was 1-1 last week. I'm going to go. We have another matchup. We're going to go with those where the Seahawks are playing again.
Uh-huh.
Seahawks are traveling to Arizona, where the Arizona Cardinals are surprisingly 1.5 favorites over the Seattle Seahawks. Mm-hmm. Give me the Cardinals in that matchup. I have no idea why they're favored in this game. You know, they had a nice win this past week on Monday Night Football over the Jets, but Seattle's 4-1 leading the division. No way Arizona should be favored in this game. I like the Cardinals in the 1.5. Mm-hmm. And then I'm going to keep it local.
Oh, boy.
Coming here to Philadelphia, where I mentioned it. Your Philadelphia Eagles are only 3-point underdogs against the undefeated Minnesota Vikings. I thought there's no logical reason why the Eagles should win this game. Totally a field pick. The Eagles, 3-point underdogs. I'm taking the Philadelphia Eagles to win the game against the Minnesota Vikings. They're going to move to 4-2. I still believe, man. I still believe. Give me the Eagles to defeat the undefeated Minnesota Vikings. Give them their first L of the year. Sam Bradford coming back to town, going down. There you go. Mike likes the under in the London
Giants,
game.
LA Rams.
Yeah, Giants and Rams. And he's got the Redskins taking down the Lions at a 1.5 favor.
Yes.
Right, they're covering the 1.5.
Yes.
All right. You're getting the bonus pick. I love the Lions in that game. I've also got the Cardinals at minus 1.5, and I have the Birds at +3, taking down the Minnesota Vikings.
Okay.
Time for shout-outs. All right, we're going to start it off at Twitter. All right, shout-out to Rebecca Hausman, Chris Clark at the NFL, Jeffrey Parham Sr., and Chad Steiner. Shout-outs to you guys. Thanks a lot for listening.
Also on Twitter, we have Living with Addiction and Abstract Thoughts. Then on SoundCloud, we have Mimi Killian. And on Facebook, we have Jose Colon and Eric Smith.
Guys, thank you so much for the likes, the follows, the plays, the listens. We appreciate it. You guys can find us. We're on Twitter at the Philly Pod. Like us on Facebook. We're on YouTube. We're on SoundCloud. And we're also available for download on iTunes.
Don't forget, we are recording Saturdays.
Right, yeah. Our new upload day, we record Saturdays and we upload Saturdays and Sundays now.
Yes.
So keep in mind when you're looking for us throughout the week. That's our new upload and recording time. We found audio. About when we were debating about Tony Romo and the Cowboys. Here it is. Now, last week was the Philly Pod. We had episode 10. Well, this audio is from the Philly Pod episode 9. Check it out. Here's what we got. To me, at this moment in time, the Cowboys are playing this well with Dak Prescott. They're going to be even better when they get a healthy Tony Romo back.
I don't bite there because you're telling me that you're gonna go ahead and take a chance on Tony Romo, who you're gonna see some rust there.
All right, there you go. Episode 9. Another sandwich. What you got to say, bro? What you got to say?
What do you like on your sandwich?
Give me Italian hoagie with extra horseradish.
All right.
So I got one down. So that's 2-0 for me on sandwiches against you, right?
Yeah, I still owe you a sandwich.
Yes, you do. It's 2-2 now, you owe me.
Yeah.
Could be 3 coming up.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll see.
All right, anyway, we got to sign it off. Again, guys, remember, we upload now Saturday. We upload on the weekends now. We had to change. Mike got a new job.
Yep.
Again, congrats to Mike for that.
Yes. Transition's going really well.
Good. Awesome job for you, man. But that's why we have the recording change.
Yes.
So check us out again. Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, SoundCloud, iTunes. We're on all those things. Continue to support us, guys. We appreciate all of our listeners out there. Time to go. I'm Dave.
I'm Mike.
Catch you guys next week on the Philly Pod.
Later.